good evening or afternoon, wherever you are. I am grateful this afternoon, and I want us to continue with the story we've been talking about, the story of Gideon. And now we've come to a place where now Gideon has let things go. He has destroyed the Baal, and now he has built the altar of God, and the story continues. And that is why when we reached in our lives, when we decided we are going to remove everything that you've been worshiping, everything that you've replaced God with because of the problems that you are going through, and you thought God has abandoned you, and now you are going to destroy everything and rebuild your altar so that you can start again afresh your walk with God. And so now we see, because of now this obedience, or and still we talked about doing what God has already told you to do. Those moral instructions, the things God has asked you to do, and the things God has asked you to stop, you should be able to do them so that you can be able to walk with Him and hear from Him. Because one thing I can tell you, you cannot walk with God if you can't hear from Him. You have to hear his instructions, you have to hear His directions. And so, if there's anything that is holding you back and stopping you from hearing from God, you have to make sure you remove all those, and you have to ask Him to give you the discerning spirit that you can be able to hear when He speaks to you. Now we see now the story now is changing. Now God is about to give Midian to the hands of Israel through now their leader, the new chosen leader, Gideon. Now, as they move, as they go, now the story now continues, and the one says that then the Spirit of the Lord came to Gideon, and he blew the trumpet, summoning the Israelites. They are still part of Israelites to follow him. He sent messengers throughout the Manasseh, calling them to arms, and also into Asher, Zebulun, and Naphtali, so that they too went up to meet them. Now he is now putting together now the men he thinks they are the ones they will go to fight with. And so he people are gathering, the men are gathering the from all over the land, and they are coming together. And so we can see here now still Gideon is a funny guy. He's still telling, he gives God another test. He wants still to confirm, and he's telling God that if you save Israel by my hand as you have promised, look, I will freeze on the threshing floor, and if there's no dew in the morning, it will be dry. I know that you'll save the Israelites through my hand as you and saint. And he does that, and God does that. Sometimes God will bear with us. He understands us, and he will know the human mind, or our capacity to maybe to understand him, or to get exactly what's saying. Sometimes it's not easy. And so him sometimes, and him, we see him, we see a very humble, or he's so humble, he's unclean to these things Gideon is telling him, and he's not even angry, because he didn't want this guy, Gideon guy. He wants to build the faith of Gideon so that he can be able to fully trust him. That when he tells him go, he can go without thinking twice. Did I really hear God well? That when God tells you go do something, you can go without being afraid, or asking, did God send me? Did God say this? And that is why we can see him agreeing to do these things. Now Gideon is telling him, he remove the freeze, tomorrow I want the ground to be dry. And God did that, because he had chosen Gideon to be the one to lead the children of Israel, so that he can save them from the Medians. And so now we see now people have gathered, now the men have gathered, but still God has something with these men, because by the end of it, He doesn't want the people of Israel, excuse me, to take credit for what has happened. And so the Lord will speak to Gideon again and tell him, the Lord said to Gideon, you have too many men. I cannot deliver Midian into your hands, or Israel will boast against me. My own strength have saved me. Because God is saying, if I bring you, when I if I allow you to go with this huge army, with these huge men, they will boast and they'll say they did it with their power, because now they think they did it because they are many, rather than now putting their trust in God. They still again put their trust in themselves, which God did not want. And today I'm asking you, what is it that are you putting your trust in Him? You're in yourself, and God, there is something He's trying to remove from you. Maybe it's your education. You think it's your degree that is making you to prosper. Maybe you think it's your business skills that are making you to prosper. But God sometimes he will, what do you call it? He will remove all those. He will remove everything you think you know for, and he will do that unless you still up, maybe in another field, for just you to know that it's not your education, it's not your skills, at you growing there, or you being there, your business flourishing, your family going well, your children grow. It is not your power, but it's the power of God. And so when it comes a time like that, at when God has to remove something from you because you are putting your trust in it. Trust me, sometimes it's not easy. It will not, and believe even for Gideon, because now Gideon, when he saw the men, he's like, wow, we are going to win. But God is saying, it's not what you think, man. I'll do it my style. I'll do it my way. And sometimes when God does it His ways, it is scary. It scares us, because as we are used to fight with our strength, with the horses and chariots. But on the other God, He is a spirit. He says that you will win, you will succeed, not by your own might, but by my spirit. And so the spirit of God has to remain. The works of God has to remain, but they have to be done in God's way, not your way, not your standard, not your style, but God's style. And that is why when all this started, one thing you have to do, you have to trust Him. You have to trust Him. Trust Him enough to let Him be the one who is now the mastermind, who is planning everything. And so now, after now God telling Midians that the children of Israel will boast against them now, it says that now announce to the army, anyone who trembles with fear may turn back. If you feel afraid, if you think maybe you are not sure, it is time to turn back. And as we see a big junk, a big group turned back. The one says that 72,000 men left. Imagine. And I can imagine the look on the face of this guy Gideon, like, for real? And how are we going to do it? And it's still that I'm talking about trusting God and following his steps. Gideon still has no idea how God will receive these guys. Now he had told them, Him I will give them in your hands. Now he has told them to remove a junk of these soldiers, and yet he's not done. Gideon has no idea, and sometimes we find ourselves in that kind of situation when you thought God will do A, and then He does D. He even jumps to B and C, and He does C. You thought You'll come through, my friend. I thought You'll bless me through my spouse. I thought You'll bless me through this job. But God has other plans. No, no, no. If I bless you through your grandmother, if I lift you through your husband, you will forget me, and you'll give all the honor to Him. You'll give Him all the glory to Him. And you know what? I don't share my glory with anyone. And so God will bypass all those, or God will bring confusion, or He will tell you to do something you yourself. You'll do it, but you still do it in, okay. You do it because you're saying, but you have no idea what you are doing. But since you've chosen to talk with, to walk with him, you will obey anyway. And so after the 72,000 men left, but the Lord says to Gideon again, there are still too many. The people you are relying on, they are too many. Your degrees are too many. Your business ideas are too many. I cannot work with them. Your plan is too big. I don't even need it. Throw it away. He closes that business where we think he'll bless you. He brings it down because he wants to do something big and mighty for himself, for his name's sake, not for you. And we see God telling him, but the Lord saying to Gideon, there are still too many men. Take them down to the water, and I'll thin them out for you. There. I love this. Now God is telling Gideon, stay aside. Let me show you how to deal with them. I am the one who is fighting now this battle. The battle belongs to God. It's not about you. So when he tells you do this, when he tells you apply for that job, still knowing you are not qualified, don't hesitate. Apply. It is not about your credentials. It's not about whom you know there. It is when you are telling, oh, no, I don't know anybody there. There it is the mighty. Who said that? That is your own assumption. That is your own saying. And when God says move, don't even think twice. Don't think, well, move. If he tells you move to the east, move to the east. Where he will show you. He's telling you move. Just move. Stop many questions. When you reach there, it is there. Or you should just the way you did it to Abraham. It's up there, you can see it. But you have to be obedient. You have to take what, as you said, those small steps that leads to victory. And so Gideon took the men down to the water. There the Lord told him, separate those who lap the water. Imagine, you've been put into test and you have no idea. These men, they were told, I think, of course, they are thirsty. And so when Gideon led them to water, everybody will take the water with their own design. And some are lapping the water with their mouths like a dog. And others are kneeling and others are taking water with their hands, like they are cupping the water and then they are drinking. And so God is still in his business. And the one says that 300 of them drank from cupped hands, lapping like dogs. All the rest got down to their knees to drink. So the ones who cupped with their hands, they were now the ones now they were like reeking with their tongues like dogs, and the others knelt to do what? To drink. So let's see. And the Lord saying to Gideon, with the 300 men, now those who took the water, maybe those who know how to stay vigilant, maybe those who know and I can still be eating and still watching out. And I can be still doing this. This God is telling me, and I'm still, alert that He can tell me something else. They are the ones who I'm going to go with. And so we see these men being cut, and now Gideon, he is going to the wall with just 300 men that lapped. And the one says that the Lord said to Gideon, with the 300 men that lapped, I'll save you and give you the Midianites into your hands. Remember what God had told Gideon before, that He will kill them. That was on verse 18. On verse 16, rather, the Lord had told him, the Lord answered, I will be with you, and you will strike down all the Midianites, leaving none alive. So it's not about now the number, it's about the God. These men you see here, and God is just maybe putting them there as vessels, but God even could have done without them. We've seen Him later or even before do without men, and without maybe from the Israelites, and giving them still victory. That is the love of God, and we see how God loves us. And so we see now Gideon, he sent the rest of Israel home, but kept the 300 who took over the provisions and the trumpets of the others. Now we see them now, they are ready now. Also Gideon is still waiting to see what now the Lord or what he will do, the plans that he has now for them to win. And we see even there's a place where, excuse me, where God tells, or rather makes the servants of the people of Gideon to go and they hunt him, talking about a dream, and these people, they were saying that Gideon arrived just as a man. It's Gideon himself was telling a friend his dream. Now Gideon is strolling now in the camps of the Midians. I think now it's night, and the this friend now is telling another friend, well, he had a dream, and can you see the coincidence or the arrangement? Gideon arrived just as a man was telling his friend, I had a dream. And he was saying that in that dream, a loud loaf of barley bread came tumbling into the Midianite camp. It struck the tent with such a force that the tent overturned and collapsed. Imagine a loaf of bread, you know, hitting the camp, the tent, and the tent did what? Overturned and it collapsed. Maybe now it is showing now these few men that God is going to use over the large army of Midianites, and God is going to give, and they have a revelation, those guys, let me tell you, because a friend has responded, this can be nothing other than the sword of Gideon, son of Joash, the Israelites. God has given the Midianites and the whole camp into his hand. They knew it. Let me tell you, when God gives your enemy, they will know. When God gives you a victory, your enemies will know. Now, even the enemies knows that it's over. God has won over now the Israelites. God has won over your case, and you are the one who don't know. But even your enemy knows. And so God is still putting courage and faith in Gideon so that he can know he is really God and he is the one who is going to give him victory. And so even as now they goes to the next step now where they will follow them, and they will start fighting, and they will win. We can see now Gideon now, I think he's 100% now convinced that God is with him and he will give him victory. And today I want to tell you, if you can hear me, God has really given you victory already. You are the one who is sitting there. You are the one who is not taking up the steps. You are the one who is not waking up and doing the things God has told you to do. But the victory is yours. You've had him. You've had even the enemies confessing. This is can be nothing else but other than the sword of Gideon. Gideon will destroy the Midianites. They know God has already given them out to Gideon. But today I want to tell you, even your enemies knows that their business with you is over. Even that bankruptcy, that town that has been stamping you for so long, that illness that has been dragging you down, that whatever has not been working in your life, even the enemy knows that it is over. It is time for rebuilding. What has been broken down, God is rebuilding it, and you have to stand up and you have to celebrate the victory because Jesus has done it. You cannot afford to stay down. Even the enemy knows Jesus won. Even the enemy knows he has no power over you. But as long as you sit there and you pray the victim, as long as you sit there in self-pity, as long as you stay there in so low self-esteem, the devil will still devour you. He will look for you and he will tear you down because you do not know who you are. But if you know you are the child of God, you know he died for you, Jesus died for you, so that you can live a victorious life. He said that he has not promised a free world, but one thing he has promised is that he has overcome it. So there's nothing in this world that is supposed to bring you down. There's nothing in this world that is supposed to stop you. You are an overcomer and you should live like one. It doesn't matter the situation, how it looks. You have to know, even if it looks like this, you have to stand up. You have to take your position and say, I am an overcomer. That is the truth, because that is what you are. God has given you victory. Stop living like a victim. Stop living in anguish. Stop living in pain. He has given you victory. He has given you healing. Wake up and start living a victorious life. Wake up and start living a healed life. Wake up and start living a confident life, because he died so that you can have that kind of life. He said that the devil comes to steal and destroy and kill, but Jesus came that we may live, have life, and have it in abundance. So wake up and live in abundance that is already provided. God bless you so much. And remember, subscribe. See you next time. Thank you.